Now then, we're on record, everyone. So welcome, as I said, just for the purpose of the recording, and those of you that are watching on replay, welcome to you as well. I was just saying to those that have joined us live that it's always tricky to get the timings right. So apologies if this wasn't a good time for you. It's just a real stab in the dark. In fact, if you feel like feeding back to me is whether you think this is a good time or not, then that'd be really helpful. Please do. I'm always open to any thoughts and ideas. So please do share that with me. So this is our hashtag VA Freedom, and we run this at the moment. We're doing it twice a year because I love to share the knowledge that I've got. I love to try and help you up level yourself. And just trying to sort of give back, because I remember what it was like when I was starting out. It felt really hard to know where to start and where to get the information from and all of those things. So I just try to give back. I've been speaking to a few of you this last week and very happy to do that. And as I was saying, I think to all of you, I'm actually very nosy. So I'm very glad to get to hear about you and your story and, what you want to achieve. I'm really interested in that. So this hashtag VA Freedom is an opportunity for me to give back, but also to share a bit about my story to hopefully inspire you to think that you can do the same thing or create something similar for yourself. But also, help you believe in that it is something that's achievable for you, if or not, equally, if you decide that this isn't for you and this isn't a path you want to go down, that's an equal win, isn't it? Because, I want you to be happy. The whole point of what VA Freedom is all about and what it stands for, as far as I'm concerned, is to help you create whatever freedom looks like for you. And for me, I'm living the freedom, and so I want the same for you. Really, that's a lot of what this VA Freedom is all about. So I'm going to get stuck in. Please do feel free to put any questions in the chat as we go, and we will come back to them at the end, I promise you. So please do that. So tonight I'm going to be talking about Is It For Me, as I've just alluded to, really. We've got 3 nights. We've got tonight, tomorrow and Thursday, same time, same place. You will be getting emails to remind you of what time and the Zoom link and everything like that. So please do come to every night live if you can, and I'll share a bit about that in a minute, why. But tonight we're going to be focusing on Is It For Me? So is it for you? Then we are going to be covering various other things in the other workshops. So the other workshops, tomorrow is a really, really busy one, and it's what I call the whistle stop tour. And I'm going to be taking you through everything about setting up your VA business from start to finish. It's going to be a 0 to 60, fast paced, lots of information. Have your pens at the ready, because I'm going to be quick fire running through the whistle stop tour. And then on Thursday, we're going to be looking at sort of like what I call the success path, thinking about things that will help you be successful. So there's going to be lots of things that I'm going to be sharing. Then next week, we're going to do a masterclass, which I'm going to be keeping the content a surprise. And some of it will be very much led by your questions anyway. But we're going to be sharing lots of content there as well. Please do spread the love. I genuinely want to help anyone who is interested in creating this life for themselves to help them create it. So anybody else that you think might be interested in being a virtual assistant, wants to know a bit more about it, because I appreciate that, this has been my whole life for the last sort of 6, 7, 8 years, is it now? My maths isn't great. And so I know what I'm talking about, but I've got to appreciate there was a time that, I didn't know what a virtual assistant is. And, it sometimes actually feels a little bit too good to be true. So, I think it's good to come and hear it from the horse's mouth. So if you've got any friends or anybody else who you think, or family for that matter, who you think that, might be interested in being a virtual assistant, please do invite them to come along, get them to sign up. Tomorrow morning we'll be sending out the replay from tonight, because obviously they're not here, but they can watch the replay and join us for the remainder of the workshops All the workshops will be going out on replay the following day, but they won't be available indefinitely. So we've got to make some decisions about that internally. So I'll let you know more about that as we go along. So please stay to the end. Those of you that turn up live get so much more from this. I know myself that when I sign up to some workshops like this and I don't go along live, you get so much less from it. Although I am appreciative that some of you aren't able to turn up live, you've got commitments already tonight. I understand that. And if you are watching on the replay, I do appreciate you, and I'm very grateful that you've joined us. But I do think that you'll get more from it if you turn up live, because not least you can ask me your questions live. But also this time we're running a competition, and so those that stay to the end will be given a specific word, and there'll be one at the end of each of the workshops, and it won't be on the recording. And if you've got all 3 words, then we're going to be having some prize giving at the celebration party at the masterclass on Monday. So please do try and come along live. I definitely recommend it. So here's the plan. I'm going to be going through, is being a VA for me? We're going to be about an hour, Hayley, about an hour. And then we've got Q&A, and as I say, stay to the end to hear about the competition. So I'm just going to whistle stop tour through who I am, because I think I definitely know some of you in the group already. But for those of you that haven't met me, I'm Paula Edwards. I'm the founder of Advanced Virtual Assistants. As I said, I started back in 2016. I was born in Devon and married into the Air Force. No problems, Savita, that's fine. I'm married into the Air Force and have been a military spouse for the last 29 years, our 30th wedding anniversary next year. In that time, we've moved 15 times. I've got 3 grown-up children, 2 miniature Dachshunds, and I've had a lot of jobs with every single move. So I felt very mentally unfulfilled, and I got very tired of reinventing myself. And I tell you all of that because that's the foundations of how and why this business was born. And that's going to be relevant as we go through these slides. So if you didn't know already, I love to learn. I just thought I'd share some of the courses that I've done. So I think that it's important to share this because I really take very seriously doing CPD and up-leveling myself. I mean, I do it because of the love of it for myself, not because it's a chore. I genuinely love to continue to keep learning. And what I love about that especially is that I can then share that knowledge with you, my students. So whether that be on our VA course or whether that be on our OBM course or whether it be in the up-level lounge. So I've invested these are just the higher ticket price courses I've paid for myself, and I've done so that I can, well, mainly because I'm interested in it, but it just means I can bring so much more to the table, and I thought that was important to share here. I'm not going to go through each one. So what exactly is a virtual assistant? Well, I've picked this up from a Canadian-based VA networking because I quite liked it. I thought it was quite succinct. Essentially, a virtual assistant or a VA is a highly skilled, independent professional who remotely provides administrative, technical, and/or creative business support services. I think that says it quite well. Essentially, a VA is somebody who delivers any kind of service remotely on a self-employed basis. That's how I see it. There are employed virtual assistants, but there are far more self-employed virtual assistants. And so it's essentially delivering any service remotely, so far as the way I can see it. So it could be that you're you love social media and you want to do social media management. You could still consider yourself a virtual assistant, or you could niche down into maybe doing specific setups on CRMs or something. That also could be considered a virtual assistant. But most people understand a virtual assistant as being a PA or an EA that is virtual. Now, of course, the vast majority of our clients, because if you didn't know, we've got the agency as well, and that'll come up in a minute, but in the agency, the vast majority of our clients are actually using what I'd call a generalist VA PAEA kind of support. But we do have very specific support as well. We have HR support, recruitment support, we have social media support, we have bookkeeping, we have so many things. So there's so many different areas of services, so many different services that you can supply as a virtual assistant. Now, don't let that overwhelm you, because if you're not any of those things, that's like a social media manager or a bookkeeper or anything, and you just really like admin, that is also absolutely fine. But essentially, a virtual assistant is just delivering administrative services remotely on a self-employed basis. So if you were to start your own virtual assistant business, what I'd be interested to know is, give me one word in the chat how that makes you feel right now. How do you feel about setting up a virtual assistant business? Maybe you're already a virtual assistant. You can tell me if you're already a virtual assistant, already delivering a service. Let us know that as well. So unsure, Hayley's feeling unsure how you feel. Be interested to dig into that a bit more. Just whether it's the right thing for you, Hayley, or whether scared and unsure if I've got the right skills. Excited, great, Izzy. I hear all the time, Savita, that I'm hoping I'm saying your name right, by the way. If I've got the right skills, a lot of people wonder that as well. Yeah, daunting is another common one. Don't worry, Anna, that's fine. I'm hoping that I'm going to make you feel differently about that over the next few days. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Savita. So yeah, let me know how you're feeling throughout, if you like, about setting up your own business. I appreciate it is a scary thing, and in all honesty, I kind of fell into it, so I didn't overthink it, which was actually quite a good thing in the end. So I wanted to just talk to you about a couple of people that have come through the course, just to share with you where they've come from, because I think what I found by doing the training on all of the courses, all the places that I do any training, the feedback I always get is, oh, underqualified. I doubt that very much, Fern. The feedback I always get is that, lost my thread there, is that they love the snippets of the real life actually doing the job that I do, because it makes it feel more real. So this is why we've added this in, because I think that this is the reality. I may have changed some names throughout this, but this is actual students and I'm trying to give you a cross section of the sorts of things that we've come across here. So I'm going to call this student Emma, and when Emma came to exactly to this, the very first VA Freedom, actually, she didn't think that she had the skills or anything to offer, because she hadn't worked for 9 years, because she'd been a stay-at-home mum and spent all her time with her children. So I just, I'll come back to where they are now. And we've got quite a few military spouses that have come through me for obvious reasons. I guess they think we're quite aligned because I'm a military spouse as well. But a lot of people also from the teaching profession. Both of these are both military spouses from the teaching profession, and they come back thoroughly fed up and worn out with the teaching profession, and that's how they came to join to the VA Freedom. Then we had Sarah, again, and changing the names for their anonymity, but she was on maternity leave and really didn't want to go back to work. She really wanted to be able to stay at home and be with her children. And I think we all know, don't we, now that the cost of childcare, it makes you wonder whether it's affordable to go back to work. And yeah, I just feel like it's really, really hard for young families these days. So she wanted to create something for herself that would fit around the family and I often say, have your cake and eat it, because I really do think you can have your cake and eat it. And then we've had Jo, who was really working very hard in a full-time job, doing all the hours above and beyond. And she was nearing retirement, but didn't want to retire yet, couldn't afford to retire yet. And that's another thing, isn't it? Cost of living and everything. A lot of people, retirement's unaffordable. So she was just felt like the job she was doing was not sustainable for her. So she came to us and did our VA course from that perspective. And then Louise, she already had a bookkeeping business, but wanted to add in virtual assistant services alongside it. So you can see there's so many different walks of life that consider going into the virtual assistant space. I'm sure you've all got your own as well. So what a lot of people say, and I can see that in the thread you're talking about this at the moment, do I have what it takes? Everybody thinks that. So just to reassure you, literally everybody will be thinking that, do I have what it takes? And you know what, even now, today, and even with all those courses that I showed you, there are days when I think, I feel I have that imposter syndrome. I'll be talking about that in a minute. But so the big factor, what'll change is if you work on your mindset. So mindset is absolutely everything. It's the key that will unlock so much for you if you work on having a better mindset. I know it sounds maybe a bit woo to some of you. Some of you don't actually know what I'm talking about. But if we can talk to ourselves in a kind of way and believe that we have the skills and we have something to offer, then it just changes how we present ourselves in the world, in that we have our belief in ourselves. We know that we've got skills to offer. We know that people will buy the services that we're able to offer. And I remember when I very first started, I set my price at £25 an hour. And I just could not believe that anybody in this world would pay me £25 an hour to do some admin. I mean, that just seems absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, I didn't doubt my skills because, as I told you, I had a lot of jobs, and I have had a lot of experience in managing other people's businesses. So I wasn't really worried about my skills, but I never knew whether I was good enough. I knew I had a good cross section of skills. But how do we know whether we're good enough? We always tend to benchmark ourselves against other people, don't we? So again, that actually takes us back to mindset. So a big key thing is our mindset, and we do some work on that on our VA course because it's so important. And I actually bring in a mindset coach because I know a lot about mindset because I've read a lot on it. It's so important, but I just feel like it's so important I'd bring in somebody who knows more than I do. So do you have the skills? Well, a lot of people think they haven't got the skills. As I say, I can see you've been saying that in the chat. And in all honesty, we've all got a different, varying amount of skills. We've all got our own uniqueness to bring to the table. And it's a mix of lots of things. And skills is actually just one part of it. But, everything that you've done up to now, or any work that you've done up to now, whether that be in customer service as a teenager when you worked in a restaurant, or whether it be organising your children's birthday parties, that in itself is project management, whether it's moving house, whether it's general admin or PA or whatever. I'm absolutely certain, even if you haven't had work in the typical way, I bet you've got skills to bring to the table. All of you will have email because you wouldn't be here if you haven't. So I know that you know how to work email. All of you know how to work Zoom, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So you all already have those skills as well. So there's already so many things that you already have that you can offer. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to be able to offer all of the things straight away. As you saw with that list of courses I've done, as I've upskilled myself and added knowledge in, then I'm able to offer more to my clients, and actually a lot of them are a byproduct. When I did the launch course, the first one I did that to help me launch my VA course when I very first wrote it, because I didn't know where to start. What I didn't realize is that now that adds so much more than just being able to do launches myself. It means that we can deliver it as a service to our clients. We can sell that as another service. But it also means that I can talk to our students about what launch is. We've got a module in our OBM course on launch and funnels. So that's enabled me to bring that in. So we pick up stuff along the way that we can then add into our skill set, our arsenal, and offer more to our clients. So another question I get asked quite a lot is, how hard is it to set up a VA business? Well, actually, it's extremely, extremely easy. There's very little you need to worry about. And the same is true with the financial outlay. You basically need a laptop that is I would say that you need a laptop that's decent, reasonably quick, and you need Wi-Fi that's decent. You don't actually need a phone, although all of us have got phones, I suspect, and it is helpful to have. But they're the things that you actually need. So the financial outlay is probably little to nothing. You might need to upgrade your laptop or your computer at some point. I started out with my quite aged Apple laptop when I started, and had to quickly change it because I kept getting that whirly wheel of doom. And when we're charging our time out, it's important to be efficient. So they're the only things that in terms of financial outlay. And in terms of starting up your business, very simple, really. I mean, legally, you don't have to actually declare it to HMRC until you've invoiced up to £1,000. So you can sort of dip your toe in. And in terms of like setting up with HMRC as a self-employed person, it's very, very simple. But then there's like the other bits that you may want to add in, like thinking about your marketing and your branding and things like that. But it isn't difficult to start your VA business. There's very little that you need to do officially with HMRC and so on and so forth. Another thing I get asked a lot is like, how much time do I need? And this is like, how long's a piece of string, to be honest with you. I always say that I want you to create your version of freedom, whatever that looks like. So, I mean, my version of freedom and your version of freedom may be very different. Given the case studies that I shared with you earlier, the lady that was on maternity leave, she just doesn't want to have to commute back to work and pay for childcare. And she just wants to have some hours to bring some money in around looking after her children that supports the family finances. So she wasn't, whereas I like to start work about 8:30 and I finish about 5 or 6 every day. I'm tending to take Fridays off now, but I've done that. I've worked 5 days a week for many years, and that's out of choice because I absolutely love what I do, and that's my version of fully booked. And that's my version of freedom. So you can add in as much time or as little time as you want. Another question I get asked around this is, can you start it around a full-time job? Yes, you can. I'm not going to lie, it is a bit harder because it depends on the clients that you end up working with, the types of work that you are going to do, that you can do just in the evenings or weekends. Is a bit more limited than if you're available during the day. So if you think about being a PA, for example, you need to have availability to deliver that service to your clients through the working day. But if you are doing bookkeeping or social media management, or maybe creating slides, presentations, anything like that isn't time sensitive, you can definitely deliver those services around a full-time job whilst you're trying to build the business up to move from one to the other. So how much time you have is really dependent on how much time do you want to give. Where do I start? I get asked that a lot. How do I find clients? Just seen that Sarita's asked that as well. So where do I start? Well, I mean, we do have a checklist that helps you sort of go through the things that you need to think about putting in place. And that's on our website, which we can definitely send the link out if anybody wants it, or you can go and find it for yourselves. And essentially, I would start by thinking about, who it is that you want to work with and what services you want to deliver. That's kind of where I would start. And then it is about finding the clients. Now, a lot of people are saying that the market is saturated. There's a lot of virtual assistants now, much more than when I very first started. And that's only a good thing because it shows me that there's a demand for our services. If there wasn't a single other VA in the world, it would suggest to you that nobody needs them. So, I mean, if you think about, where I live, we've got hundreds of nail bars and barbers and hairdressers and things. It doesn't mean that they're all going to go out of business. It just means that people choose the one they prefer. And so, yes, there is a lot more virtual assistants than there used to be, but it just means that people will choose the one that they prefer, because I think it's important to recognize early on that we're not going to appeal to absolutely everybody. I think, I hate to break it to you, it was a bit of a realization for me as well. But we don't appeal to everybody, as we know that not everybody appeals to us. And so, I mean, but we do have people that appeal to us, and we know that we appeal to some people, and that's all we want, really. So it's important to know that, you know, there's always the business out there. It's about letting people know that you're here and what you stand for, and how you can help them. So yes, the market is a bit busier than it used to be, but it doesn't mean it's impossible or hard to find the work. It's about, you know, speaking to the right people, thinking about your marketing, and yeah, essentially letting people know you're here to support them with whatever they're finding they need support with in their business, or in fact outside their business. We've actually had quite a lot of work recently that is personal admin support. So it's like it's very busy CEOs that want their nail bar booking. I mean, one of them was this week was what was it? I want a BIAB appointment near my hotel in New York, you know. So these are the sorts of things that you could be doing. I mean, I know all of you in this room are able to do that, you know. So yeah, and there's a lot more personal support that I'm seeing lately for busy CEOs, and you know, a lot of people actually really love doing that type of thing. Procrastination and comparisonitis are two words you'll hear bandied about. Information paralysis as well, because I think we procrastinate when we're overwhelmed, and we get overwhelmed when we have a lack of belief in ourselves, or we need to do some work on our mindset. So you will see that you will definitely experience this unless you're I don't know, absolutely brilliant, because I definitely still experience these things. And comparing yourself to other people is very typical. I think it might be just something, I don't know whether men do that, do they? I don't know. I think we women are terrible for it, because why do we compare ourselves to somebody else? Because it's important to remember that, as I just said, we've all got different things to bring to the table. We've our background knowledge, what we've built up, our arsenal of skills and experience, will be very different. Whilst you might be able to both do inbox management, your experience might be different. One might be coming from the construction industry, and one might be from beauty salons. You know, it's just like very different. And so you can't compare yourself to people. And the other thing to remember is to not compare yourself to anybody else's beginning, middle, or end. Everyone's on a different journey, on a different rate, you know, a different pace. It might be that it takes you longer than somebody else to set up. And it doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means it's right for you. So we really mustn't compare ourselves to other people. I really encourage people on our course to put their blinkers on, put their head down and get on with it, because I don't want you to be knocked off target. I want you to believe in yourself. Yeah, mindset is the biggest obstacle for most people. Louise is saying it absolutely is. And it's a work in progress. It really is. It's something but so long as you're mindful of it, so long as you know, hang on, you know, I've got this little gremlin chatting on my shoulder telling me I'm rubbish. And you recognize that gremlin and think, no, I'm not going to listen to you today. You know, I know it sounds like I'm barking mad, but honestly, it works. It works. And information paralysis. I was actually talking to people this week. In fact, I hear it all the time. There's so much information out there that's available freely. I'm guilty of it myself. Here I am sharing my information freely. But what I would suggest to you is to find a few people that you recognize, you respect, you like what they say, you align with, whatever it is. They're your people, and then just listen to them. Don't try to listen to everything, because sometimes it can be conflicting, and I don't want you to get overwhelmed with the amount of information out there. I just want you to think, find your mentor, your coach, who you want to listen to, and just stay focused on that and on your path. Don't be led off down different paths. So we start with my why, and this sounds really weird. Why are we going into this? And I think it's really important to know what your why is, because it's that thing that drives you forward to actually doing it, to actually creating this. So, I mean, my why was that I've always needed to work. I've got 3 children, and through them all, I've always gone back to work after maternity leave. I like working. As I've already said, I love to learn. I love to use my brain. I love to have something for myself. And in 2016, we were posted to Germany, and there were no opportunities for me to work at all. And I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. I really felt I threw myself into lots of voluntary stuff to try to help. And I actually did really enjoy that, to be fair. But I found it really hard not doing meaning for me, what was meaningful for me, work. I was doing lots of voluntary work, but I also like earning my own money. God, shock horror, not a very British thing to say, but it's true. And so I got fed up with reinventing myself, and I really wanted to have the freedom of some work that I could take with me. I remember feeling quite disappointed. I'd had a job for 5 years in London, which I loved, and I'd asked them if they'd consider me doing some of my work remotely, because I knew that I could do it. I was doing a lot of compliance stuff for the ISO standards, and I knew that I could do all of that remotely for them. And they were a bit older. It was 2016, before COVID, before people really understood this remote working model. And they did consider it, but felt like it wasn't going to work. And I was really disappointed. So there I am in Germany with no work at all. And so another reason is my why is that I want to self-actualize. And when I left education, I wanted to had these high hopes for myself to achieve something, even though I couldn't really necessarily articulate what it was. And I felt like I wasn't getting there, whatever that looked like. And so that was another reason why I created the business. That was a really strong why, is self-actualization. That's one of the big things that has driven me in my business. And the need to work is another big reason, big why for me, that drives me. Having the freedom and the flexibility for this business to be what I want it to be. I can shape it to be what I want it to be, and I absolutely love that. And then I'm very passionate about helping others, and I genuinely mean that. As I said at the very top of this call, I feel really I love doing this type of thing. If you're not feeling the vibe already, I absolutely love sharing my knowledge and helping you to see that you can create this for yourself. And as I said, it doesn't have to look like what I've done. That's not wrong or right. It can just be whatever right looks like for you. What is your version of freedom? And that's what I want you to think about. What's your why? Why do you want to create that version of freedom for yourself? So I really want you to think about that. So as I said, I actually registered with HMRC in 2017. I started working with clients in 2016. One of my ex-colleagues that I worked with in London started his own business and asked me to help. And then I registered with HMRC in 2017. I got fully booked pretty quickly and took on my first associate in 2018. That's somebody that comes in and helps deliver the services to my clients with me. And then in 2019, I took on a social media manager because I hate doing social media. And so that was my first team member. Then into 2020, I created my VA course, which is Activate. And that came about because I had so many people saying to me, how did you actually get this VA business going? How did you do it? And bear in mind, back then, the VA industry was smaller. And so I gladly gave time, had an hour's call with people to say, right, this is how I did it. And I had this, talked them through the process of what I'd done. But I got actually tired of saying the same thing over and over again. I realized that by halfway through the call, their hand was aching from taking notes, and they were starting to glaze over because they had no more capacity to absorb what I was telling them. And also I started to realize I can't just keep giving away my time like this because it was taking up so much time. So I thought, I know, I'm just going to write it down. And my mind was, I'm just going to write down like a sheet, a document of like, this is what I want to share with you. Well, I'm a perfectionist, and it grew legs, and the Activate course was actually written in 2020. So that's how my VA course came about. In 2021, I did the Certified Director of Operations course. And in 22, we had a busy year. I became a limited company and I went VAT registered. And in earlier this year, we launched our OBM course, which is Elevate, and we've also recently just launched our Up Level Lounge, which is like a mini membership. So I've been busy. So what I want you to think about is, what is your why? We are giving out homework. I think you should have all received your workbook. What is your why? I want you to think about what it is that is driving, why are you here? What is driving you forward to create your VA business? What does it mean to you? Getting clear about that really helps you to feel the fire to make this work for you. So I really recommend that you go through that workbook and create your why, and let us know in the group, any light bulb moments you've had by going through that process, or what your why is. I'd love to hear it. And please feel free to tag me so that I can come and have a look at what you're saying, what you've discovered so far about yourself. So I want you to think about, what do you want your life to look like in 1 year's time and in 3 years' time? And I think when people are asked to think this way, it really helps you to focus the mind on, well, in 12 months' time, do I want to be in the same place as I am today? Is that what I want for myself? And it might be yes, that's fine. And it might not be being a virtual assistant, that's also fine. But this exercise will help you, whatever the outcome, is just getting that clarity of, like, what do I want my life to look like for me, not necessarily the family, in 12 months' time. And I really urge you to sit and think about that. And I like to use the phrase, is it one day or day one? And I think, that, because that really resonated with me. I don't know whose quote I keep pinching when I use that, but that really, really resonated with me, because I thought, what am I putting off? Why put off today? What was the phrase? Oh, I'm rubbish at these things. I start these things and then can't finish them. Why put off today what I can do tomorrow? No, other way around. Anyway, you get the drift of what I'm saying. I'm absolutely useless at remembering these things. So have a think about what you want your life to look like in 1 and 3 years. And don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to share that with me. If this isn't anything you have to share with anybody. You don't have to share it with your family. You don't have to share it with me. You don't have to share it in the group. So I want you to be brave and be a little bit out there, and actually dare to think, push those boundaries a little bit. If what you're thinking of is like where I want to be in 12 months' time, let's say, for example, you decide you do want to be a virtual assistant, and in 12 months' time, you would like to be fully booked and replaced your current income, for example. But if you dare to think about that, the imposter syndrome is getting in your way. You don't believe you've got the skills, and you don't dare to even think like that, because you think it's not possible for me. And I'm here to tell you that it is possible for you. And I want you to think about that thing that feels out of reach, because I want you to think, what in 12 months' time, that thought, and putting yourself in that and thinking about that, I want it to make you feel a little bit sicky in the stomach, with both nerves and excitement. And then you know that you're onto something. So have a think about that. What you want your life to look like in both of those time periods. So where are they today? I said I'd come back, didn't I? So all of these ladies are now have their version of freedom. I've realized I've not missed that word out there, or of fully booked VA. So everybody's version of fully booked is different. I explained what mine is. It might be that you are somebody who wants to work, 4 hours a day whilst the children are at school or something. And that's your version of fully booked. It doesn't matter. We're not comparing, remember. There's no competition with each other. It's just what's right for you. So they are their version of fully booked. And some of them are even looking at what the next step is, whether they think about bringing on a team, or whether they think about up-leveling to the online business manager. Some of these people are, got younger children, and so that they want to stay with what their version of fully booked is for the time being. And this is the beauty about the virtual assistant business, is that you can ramp it up or down to suit your family lifestyle, what's going on. You know, it might be that you've got little ones in nursery, and but in 18 months, 2 years time, they're all going to be at school, for example. Or, you know, it might be that you're in a full-time job, and you know that you're going to stay in that for the next 6 months, but 6 months time after that, you want to make your VA business your full-time job, for example. So your version of fully booked is your version, and it's absolutely fine and right. One thing I want to say to you, and I've said to all of them, is if you don't believe in yourself, then borrow my belief. One of my coaches said that to me in my early days, and it really felt so powerful. You can borrow my belief because I absolutely believe in each and every one of you that you can make this. And what I find with people going through the course is I see the transformation in them because I see that growth throughout, in that they're believing in themselves and having the confidence to deliver their VA services. So, as I said, if I can do it, then so can you, and so can all of these other people that I've been talking about. There's nothing special about me. It's what's helped me get where I am today is grit and determination, because I'm quite driven, and the work on my mindset. To be honest with you, they're the things. So, and that's what I see in our students, or anybody, even people that haven't done the course that just have a chat with me. It's about having that belief in themselves, having that mindset that I can do this, I have got something valuable to offer to people. And just know that nobody knows all of the things. I can tell you that I still don't know all of the things. I never will. You know, tech moves on at such a rate that none of us will ever know all of the things. And so I want you to just forget about that and just trust that you've got enough already to sell some services, your services to somebody. There we are. So what's stopping you? You can borrow my belief. And I mean that, you know, don't let anything get in your way to create your version of freedom. Please do, you know, borrow my belief, and believe until you can believe in yourself. I genuinely mean it. Okay, as I said, there is going to be some homework, so you will have had the workbook already. If you haven't, let us know, and we can make sure we get that to you. In fact, maybe we'll put it out with the replay tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe that's what we could do. Please do that work on your why. I'm not going to be checking it. We're not going to be doing any marking or anything like that. You're not going to get detention if you don't do it. But I want you to do that for yourself, to get that clarity on what your why is, because that's going to really help you think about, is this VA business for me? And, you know, am I going to borrow Paula's belief and dive in and make this version of freedom a reality for myself? So please do that work anyway. Okay, so we're going to move on to Q&A now. No problem, Hayley. Oh, we've got somebody leaving, somebody arriving. It's all go. It's like Piccadilly Circus here today. I'm just going to unshare my screen, I think, whilst we do any Q&A. And then I'll go back to show you what the word is in a bit. How are we doing? Nice to see you all. I didn't see you all whilst I had the screen share. How are we doing? Any questions that have come up? Any questions along the way? I'm just going to go back through the chat. I have been trying to do both things at once. Not the best at that, though. Have you noticed any questions, Louise? I noticed you've been answering some of them as well along the way.
No, I think we've covered them so far.
Has anybody got any questions? Don't be shy. Come off mute if you want to. I have loads of admin and customer care skills. Is that enough to start with? Maybe adding social media community. Absolutely. That is absolutely plenty, Fern. I mean, just the loads of admin is great. Customer care skills is great. Social media also great. I mean, it depends. Social media management, there's a few versions of that. You know, it could be that you create the posts and do the scheduling, or there's the strategy around the marketing as well. So it depends. You can definitely, as a VA, be doing the social media, creating the posts and scheduling them. Definitely, that's something. And of course, admin and customer care is helpful. So you're ready to go. How do you find clients and sell your services? Yeah, so finding the clients is the age-old problem, and a lot of that is actually believing in yourself. I always advise to start with friends and family and ex-colleagues. Start with them. Reach out to anybody that you've worked with. Tell anybody and everybody what you're doing, because the power of doing that, you wouldn't believe it. You'll find that I always say this, great Auntie Maud might know her next door neighbour son might be a plumber who's looking for some support. So honestly, do tell anybody and everybody what you're doing, because the power of it is huge. And as I say, reach out to ex-colleagues, ex-bosses, friends and family, anybody and everybody. Just tell them what you're doing, put it out there on social media. And then after that, I think one of the quickest and most powerful ways is face-to-face networking, but there's also online networking. Of course, there's social media, and having a whole marketing strategy around your social media is helpful. That sounds like a big, long word. Don't get put off by that. It's essentially having a strategy is deciding who you're going to target, who's your ideal client, who you're going to target, and where. So, like, for example, if you want to work with creatives, they're likely to be on Instagram more than they're likely to be on LinkedIn, for example. So you want to be hanging out on Instagram and speaking to their problems on your social media. But it's about consistency. So yeah, make sure you show up consistently on social media where your ideal clients hang out. It's a huge topic which need a whole nother couple of days to cover that, to be honest. But I hope that gives you some inspiration. Where are we? Jumping ahead. My degree is in journalism, so I'm hoping to use that along the line too. Yeah, absolutely. So proofreading and content writing are a couple of things that you could definitely use in your journalism there, Fern. Definitely be able to use that. Yeah, and as Louise said, we've got a free PR workshop on Friday of how you can offer PR support to your clients, which absolutely, oh good, you've signed up. Absolutely, I think that's something that busy CEOs are wanting. It's something I need actually, in how do I get into Entrepreneur? How do I get an article into Entrepreneur? How do I get invited onto more podcasts? So that's a whole nother area that definitely busy business owners, especially in the online space, are looking at. So do come to the PR session, the PR workshop on Friday. It's going to be brilliant. Oh, you shared it. Well done, Louise. That was very efficient. Project management, brilliant. Absolutely, that's a skill you can offer. So we do, you can work in project management, and you can get in to do that. Probably in the bigger, more corporate space, I would say, but definitely project management as a VA is a thing. It's something we teach in the online business manager course, because it is very specific skill, but using it more broadly in the VA space, it could be that you support people with launch management. So anything there's a project, it could be like a website build, it could be an office move. There's lots of things that you can use project management skills with. Is there a VA agency you can register with when you're searching? Absolutely. So there are lots of VA agencies. We're what we call a lead VA. So I would be considered the lead VA, and the clients belong to me. Any new clients that we get come in, they belong to me, and then you work on my behalf, but on a self-employed basis, and that's what's called an associate. No, that's not Upwork. I'm not a fan of Upwork, and anyone, yeah, Louise said avoid Upwork. Absolutely. People do get work from places like Upwork, but it's basically a race to the bottom, because you're competing with offshore VAs that are charging £4 an hour. So it's soul destroying, but people do get work there. It's just not something I necessarily would waste my energy on. In terms of lead VAs, so I've got a team of VAs on the agency side, where, because we've been going a long time and we're quite established, we're found more easily than newbie VAs. And also, I think to work as an associate, it's really helpful to build up that belief in yourself, to realize that you have got something valuable to offer, and it just helps you to build that confidence in the service that you're delivering, albeit for a lower rate, but you're not having to focus your efforts on any marketing particularly, because that's what the lead VA is doing. I think it's a really good and gentle way in. I worked with 2 lead VAs when I started out as a virtual assistant. So definitely would look at that. And there are lots of lead VAs that are often looking for associates. How do you decide what to charge and when you start? So the Society of Virtual Assistants do an annual survey ordinarily, but there's been a changeover in personnel there, and it's not come out at the same time it ordinarily would. So I can quote you what their survey said last year, and the average rate for a VA in the UK is just under £30 an hour. That was last year. So I would say £30 an hour is a good place to start. What I recognise with people going through our VA course is that they don't have the confidence to charge that straight away. It feels icky to say it out loud. Honestly, it comes, don't worry. Some of you are thinking, yeah, no problem, I've got no problem saying that. Some of you are thinking, oh my God, there's no way I can ask for £30 an hour. That was me, I couldn't have done it. I found it hard to say £25 an hour, if I'm honest with you, but I absolutely don't find it hard now. So that does come with confidence and time to know that you're giving value to your clients, but please don't undersell yourself. I would say definitely aim for about 30, but don't go below £25 an hour, because it reduces the value of what everybody else is doing as well. So please be brave and ask what you're worth, basically. Where do you find lead VAs? I would maybe, so in a lot of the Facebook groups, there's other lead VAs, but I would maybe Google virtual assistants, because the ones that are going to do well with their SEO are quite often been going a long time. So Google recognizes our websites have been there for a while, and so we tend to do better with the SEO and come up tops. Not always the case, but that's probably Google's probably your friend here, and just have a look at what are the bigger VA businesses that are. Some of them, I know of a few of my good friends that are also lead VAs, and us included, have got applications on our website. So we give the option to pop your name into to us to say that you're interested to be an associate for us. It doesn't mean that you're going to get work straight away, but it does mean that when we're looking for associate VAs, we've got all of your details there, and we see whether you've got the skills. So we all, first of all, in advance, we go to our current existing team to see if they want any more hours. Then after that, we go out to our students, and then after that, if we're still not able to find the right skills, we use our list of people that have put their name down to say they want to be on the team. But I do know 2 or 3 at least other lead VAs that have also got applications on their website. Any other questions? No? No more questions? Oh, does it matter where we're based to join your agency? No, doesn't matter. No, we've got. I try to give back to the military spouses where I can, and we've got people all over. It could be if the time difference could be impacted if you were doing a PAEA role, and I don't know the time difference in Brunei, but I suspect it's quite a big difference. So it would be trickier to do a PAEA role. But yeah, oh yeah, so that will be. But not to say, I mean, that said, sometimes, I mean, I've worked with people in Australia. We had a dentist in Melbourne that we worked with for a long time, because they wanted somebody to be doing work whilst they slept. So we worked with them for a long time. So yeah, never say never is what I say. Right, I'm just going to go back to sharing my screen, because I think I need to. I wonder if I should stop recording. I can't remember where I am in my slides. I think I'm going to stop recording now, because I'm going to share the Word. You need to collect these 3 words, and then we're going to ask you to submit them to us. And then the people that have submitted all 3 correct words will go into a pot, and we're going to be doing various prizes. There'll be other prizes about engagement in the group, turning up live, supporting each other. We'll have several prizes that we're going to be giving out at the masterclass on Monday. But the contest is to collect a word at the end of each session. So to show that you stay to the end. And we're going to stop the recording because it's not going to be available on the replay. And those of you that share all 3 words will go into a pot to win a prize. So I'm just going to also, can I press pause? No, that's the screen sharing. It's getting excited then. I thought I could pause my recording. Thought I could. Pause, there we are. Pause recording. Re-hit record. Here we go. We're back. The word's been shared. Okay, anything else from anybody before we head off? Do you need public liability? So yeah, with insurances, just make sure I'm not missing. With insurances, most lead VAs ask you to be insured. We would expect you to be insured and to be ICO registered. Public liability is a funny one because it's kind of like, are you going to be working directly with the public? But it's such a minimal cost that it's worth having anyway. But you'll definitely need professional indemnity. And we are not currently asking for cyber insurance, but we are considering it. There's for everybody that thinks cyber insurance is worth having, there's somebody that thinks it's not. So I've been on the fence with it for a long time. I do actually have cyber insurance myself. But yes, some lead VAs will definitely most lead VAs will expect you to have your own insurance and your ICO registration. In fact, anybody that's worth working with, I would say that's definitely, if you're not asked for those things, then yeah, then I'd question why. My insurance when I started out, I think was £20 a month for both. ICO registration, as Louise says, is £40 a year. But it's £35 a year if you sign up for direct debit. Okie dokie, people. So tomorrow we have got our whistle stop tour, and I look forward to welcoming you there. Thank you once again for joining us live. I really, really appreciate it. I much prefer to have lots of you to talk to and have all these amazing questions. I'm genuinely very happy to share my knowledge with you. Have a good rest of your evening, and I look forward
Paula, we just have one quick question from Brenda.
Yeah.
Is there a number of working hours per day that you would recommend starting out?
It really depends on what you need to make in terms of money, I would say, how much you need to earn. And the thing to be mindful of is that go and read E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber. In that book, he basically says that you start a business to be a virtual assistant, but you've got to run a business as well. You're a business owner, and to be a business owner, you need to run your business. So you do need to allow time to do that, you know, to do your own marketing, to do your own invoices, all of the things that you need to do to run your own business. It's called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber, and in it he talks about how in running your own business, so many people, like I think his example was a plumber who's a great plumber, hated who he worked for, and wanted to start his own plumbing business because he's a great plumber, but what he wasn't any good at was running the business. And so that's it, Louise. You do need to be mindful that you need to run your own business. Now that's a learning curve. You're not going to need to know everything to start with, so don't let that put you off, but you do need to factor in time for that as well. So I would say to factor in a couple of hours a week for running your business, depending on, you know, what you're hoping to achieve, you know, and then of course the client hours, what we call billable hours, and there's billable hours and non-billable hours. I sound like a lawyer, don't I? If only I earned their wages. Anyway, yeah, no problem, Brenda. So thanks so much, everyone. I'm going to call it a night. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Lovely to see you all. I hope it's inspiring. Don't forget your homework, it's for your own good. And yeah, have a good rest of your evening, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye for now.